many debates that takes place in the relaxed hair community is how often relaxed hair should be touched up. There are many differing opinions based on common sense and personal preference. I even have an opinion on this debate based on my own personal experience. Now, before we get to my opinion, let's make sure we're all aligned on some terminology and what a relaxer touch-up actually is. When you have relaxed hair that is chemically straightened, that relaxed hair stays relaxed. No matter what anyone says, the relaxer can't be washed out or removed. To remove a relaxer, you need to cut off the relaxed hair. Because the old hair is relaxed, the new hair that grows out of your scalp after you get a relaxer is called new growth. The new growth is the unrelaxed or natural hair that grows out of your head. To get that new hair or new growth straight, like the rest of your hair strands, it needs to be relaxed. And that is what is called a relaxer touch-up. A relaxer touch-up is actually kind of similar to when women who color their hair get their roots touched up, because the relaxer is only applied to the roots. If you plan to stay relaxed, you'll need to get a relaxer touch-up at some point. The question is, when do you get that touch-up? I get my relaxer touch-ups every 10 to 12 weeks. It took me some trial and error to determine that was the amount of time that works best for me. When I decided on 10 to 12 weeks between my relaxers, I considered these 3 things. The first thing I considered was the amount of new growth I had. Now, the amount of new growth you have is due to how quickly your hair grows and your hair density. On average, hair grows about ½ an inch per month, but everyone's unique. Some of us have hair that grows like crazy, while others have hair that grows a little slower. Now, about hair density. Hair density is how many strands of hair grow per square inch on your scalp. If you have a lot of strands per square inch, you have dense hair, or as we sometimes say, thick hair. So if you have denser hair, you have a lot of hair on your head, so you're going to have a lot of new growth. And when you combine the length of your new growth and the number of strands on your head, that can equal to a lot of new growth. The more new growth you have, the harder it can be to deal with 2 different textures on your head, the new growth and the straight relaxed hair. After a while, I got a pretty good idea of how much new growth I would typically have at each week between my touch-ups. I also figured out how much new growth I wanted to deal with. The second thing I considered was the overall length of my hair. I currently have, and have had for years, shoulder length or longer hair. Because of that, I can kind of hide my new growth by wearing curly styles so the textures between the relaxed and natural hair are similar. I can also stretch or straighten the new growth to better match the texture of my relaxed hair. Stretching the new growth helps with going longer between my relaxer touch-ups. Now, those with short haircuts like pixies can go a shorter amount of time between their relaxer touch-ups. The reason is that style needs a lot more maintenance. To maintain a pixie cut, the hair on the sides and back of the hair need to be trimmed frequently. And to make those trims look nice, you need to kind of get rid of the new growth. So it makes sense to get a relaxer touch-up every time you get a trim. The third consideration was, what was my desired look? I mean, everyone has their own style, right? Some people love a super sleek look and want to go for more frequent touch-ups. Others prefer a more natural look and embrace a little bit of new growth. It's really all about finding the look that makes you feel fabulous and confident. I personally like having a more natural look and don't mind having my new growth showing. I like that it tends to throw people off to the point that they will come up to me and ask if I'm relaxed or natural. If you went and asked different people when should relaxed hair be touched up, you will get different answers. I know I have. Several hairstylists over the years have told me that I should be going 6 to 8 weeks between my touch-ups, which is what you typically see on a container of relaxer. And from my understanding, that's what was taught a lot in cosmetology school. Plus, when you come in for relaxer touch-ups more often, they make more money because you're bringing in more business to them throughout the year. The interesting thing is, over the last few years, I've seen more and more hairstylists saying you should have about 2 inches of new growth when you get a touch-up. Having 2 inches of new growth allows for there to be enough new growth to avoid what is called relaxer overlap. Now, relaxer overlap is accidentally relaxing previously relaxed hair. This accident happens when there isn't a lot of new growth or the person applying the relaxer just isn't careful. When relaxer is applied to previously relaxed hair, it weakens the hair even more. The weaker the hair, the more likely it will break. Avoiding relaxer overlap helps keep relaxed hair healthier and stronger. When I was first relaxed, my mom and I took that old advice and went every 6 to 8 weeks to get a touch-up. Once I had to pay for the relaxer touch-ups myself and drive myself to the salon, I stopped going so frequently. The reason was I couldn't afford going that often, working part-time in high school, making minimum wage. At that point, I started going less frequently, probably around 10 weeks. When I was in college, I also didn't go frequently, this time for 2 reasons. The first was I didn't have the money. The second was I didn't have any transportation my freshman year to get to the hair salon. Uber just really wasn't a thing then. During my college years, I was going 10 weeks, 12 weeks, and even a little longer between my relaxer touch-ups. I realized that I didn't need to go get touch-ups that often. As long as I was caring for my hair, it wasn't necessary. But what I didn't realize is that I started doing relaxer stretching. Now you might be wondering what that is, and I'm going to tell you. Relaxer stretching is going longer than 6 to 8 weeks between your relaxer touch-ups. It wasn't until after I started getting interested in relaxed hair care and found some other influencers talking about relaxed hair that I heard the term relaxer stretching and realized it was a thing. Now, if someone tries to tell you there's a hard and fast rule on how long you should stretch your relaxer, they're wrong. There isn't one. Relaxer stretching is a personal thing. There are some who can go as long as 6 months or longer between touch-ups. I've heard of some only getting a touch-up once a year. That means they go 12 months between their touch-ups. Others, like me, go 10 to 12 weeks. It all comes down to what you're willing to manage and what your hair can take. I've gone as long as 18 weeks, and that's before salons were closed during the pandemic. When salons were forced to be closed, I only had to stretch for 16 weeks. Thank goodness. What I learned from both instances is that I don't like stretching my relaxers that long. It's a lot of work, and I have to be even more careful with my hair, which takes up a lot of time. Extra time that I just don't want to spend on my hair. If you're stretching the right amount of weeks for you and your hair, relaxer stretching really isn't hard, but it can be hard to start. If you typically go 6 to 8 weeks between your touch-ups, or even less, I'd suggest taking it 1 week at a time. Here's what I mean. After your next relaxer touch-up, go 1 week longer than you typically go, and see what happens with your hair. If it goes well and you don't notice any crazy amount of breakage, try going 1 week longer than that after your next touch-up. Keep adding an additional week between your touch-ups until you start to notice negative changes in your hair. Now, I know I've gone too long between my touch-ups when my hair is constantly dry. There is breakage where the relaxed and natural hair meet, and it's hard for me to style my hair. 12 weeks is my breaking point. I know I can go longer if I need to because I have, but when I do, I'm just really not able to enjoy my hair. Because my hair is just harder to style, I tend to wear a lot of headbands and buns. I also don't like how my hair looks in pictures and videos and tend to avoid being in them. So what's the point of stretching longer if it's a lot of hassle and I can't enjoy my hair? If you'd like to learn more about relaxer stretching, check out my video, 9 tips for stretching your relaxer longer. Before you do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.